Finally, the title race has come back to the Premier League as Manchester City lose at home and Liverpool win. Let's take a look at the latest round of games coming at you next. Prediction video today. We look forward to match day number 27 over in the Premier League, and we'll get to that in just one second. If you're new, where you been? Smash your subscribe button, keep you banging up to all things Premier League related, Babin Rosalie, world football related. We got it all here, boys. Under one Ruski. That's right. The title race is back. Of course, Man City losing to, of course, give a 6-point cushion right here, right now, over Liverpool. Liverpool, of course, got a game in hand. Win that, they're back to 3 points. Win the game against Manchester City, and guess what? We're level pegging. Goodness gracious me, of course. We're looking forward to that, and of course the race for top 4 is back on, boys and girls. It's getting spicy back in the Premier League. We'll look at it, all of it, in a minute. Of course, big shout out to my VIPs. They're the patrons, guys. Thank you for loving, of course, behind the scenes. And if you are new, where you been, smash that subscribe button and keep you bang up to date. Okay, let's get in the deep end. Of course, revisit those games last time, and then shall we? Here we go. Of course, Arsenal kept up the heat. Of course, race for the top 4, 2-1 winners over Brentford, of course, who are probably getting sucked into that relegation battle right here, right now. I think so. Brighton, of course, did lose at home to Burnley.
Oh my body days.
What are we talking about? That 3-0 loss to Burnley at home. Shit show extraordinaire. Have they flicked the switch now? Are they going to get themselves out of the drop zone themselves? Meanwhile, of course, Crystal Palace did lose at home to Chelsea 1-0 in the end. Southampton are on a kick-on-ass form right now. 10th of the table, 32 points on the board for them right now. Up against Everton, big win for that. Of course, Wolves also kept up the heat as well for the top 4. 2-1 winners over Leicester. Leicester, of course, in 11th. Wolves all the way up to bloody 7th right now, and within touching distance of top 5. Meanwhile, of course, Leeds lost at home 4-2 in the end to Manchester United. Of course, West Ham against Newcastle was a draw in the end. Liverpool pick up a 3-1 win over Norwich, despite going behind on that one. Of course, Man City, goals galore. Just watch the highlights on that badger. 3-2 in the end for Spurs. What a zinger, chicken dinner. But probably the result of the week, though, is down there. Of course, Watford 1-0 win on the road to Stevie G's Aston Villa to, of course, dent their top table hopes, top half of the table, of course, and boost Watford's relegation survival hopes. As you see, it looks like this right here, right now. Of course, a bit of work to do still for Watford and Burnley, and even Norwich down the foot of the table. But you can't rule out the likes of Newcastle, still Everton, Leeds, to get themselves out of trouble. Just imagine if Everton were to get relegated. That's as big a shock as if Blackburn Rovers were to get promoted this season. Imagine that. I don't think it will happen, though. I think Everton will eventually click into gear. But it is a lot of faith has been put on Frankie Lampard's shoulders here to try and turn that around. And I don't know. I don't know if this is a job for the boys or a job for the experienced pros to get themselves out of the shithole and, of course, get up the table. But what I want to talk about is the race for the title. Like I said, like I said, 3 points adrift are Liverpool. 6 points adrift are Liverpool from Manchester City. But win that game in hand, they're down to 3, and of course they do have to play each other. And right now the goal difference is slight. It's going to be spicy, and hopefully we're left up with a right old ting-tangly race for the title, as, of course, we do have a race for the top 4. At the minute, of course, Manchester United in the driving seat, 4 points clear over West Ham. Arsenal closing in there with games in hand. Wolves as well got a couple of games in hand, and don't rule out Spurs as well. Goodness, it's all getting fruity, guys. That's why we love this game. Take a look at these guys. They also love the game. Of course, their predictions is as well. Well done to Kevin. Kicking ass and taking names. 5 bins for him, and then a whole hushes with second. Well done to all of you guys. And, of course, if your name's not there, you're doing it wrong. That's all I'm telling you. You're doing it bloody wrong. I'll tell you how to do it in a second. Of course, this is the mini leaderboard for the second half of the season. Even saying kicking ass and taking names, 33 points on the board. Master Fighter is up there as well in the second spot with, of course, Max and Guardi, Hanswell, specifically. That's the second half of the season. Next week, well, of course, we'll see the Master leaderboard. This is how you do it. Get amongst it. Go to this website here, Cutley/Premier League. Of course, get your predictions in there. I'm not making any money out of this. You guys go in here. It's just the easiest way for me to compute the data. So if you're putting your things in the bottom, I do appreciate that. That does wonders for the old algorithm. I do appreciate you guys putting your comments in there. It does give it a big old boost. But this is how you get your name in lights here. It just makes things simple. I'm all about the simplicity of getting the data. Anyway, let's take a look at the next round of games. It is a bumper edition, of course, starting off, I think, with Wednesday. So there are a lot of games to cover. We're going from Wednesday all the way through to the weekend, and I think there's a tail ender on the end, which will be Tuesday. So this is like a week and a bit. So we're going to jump in the deep end with, of course, Burnley up against Spurs, of course. course, can Spurs kick on from that monstrous win against Manchester City, or will they fluff their lines once again? Played to the 21 times since 2002, 4 wins for Burnley, 13 wins for Spurs, and 4 draws, of course. Just 1 win and 6 over Burnley right now, 42% form, where Spurs won 3, lost 3 in the last 6, 50% form. This is, of course, over at Turf Moor. Last time around at Turf Moor, in the league, it was a 1-0 for Spurs. That was, of course, back in October 2020. The reverse fixture, of course, this season was a 4-0 win for Spurs back in London. Meanwhile, they also played in the EFL Cup, and it was a 1-0 for Spurs, but that was back in October as well. So Spurs have actually played 1-3 at the last 3, and haven't conceded a goal against Burnley, and that's what I'd like to see this weekend, or this midweek. Of course, Burnley, they'll come into this on the back of a 3-0 win over Brighton, and of course, Spurs did beat Manchester City with a 3-2. Amazing game, it looked like. Of course, coming at you, though, the odds, 60-5 is your Burnley, 65 on is your Spurs, and 11-4 is your draw. Going to go with 2-0 for Spurs on this one. Of course, hopefully with the tails up. Kulievski got on the score sheet for the first time. And Harry Kane looked like a reborn player last time. So hopefully they're right back in the race for top 4 as well. So basically, there's so many subplots to the Premier League this season. Man United need top 4 to keep Ronaldo. I think Spurs need a Champions League to keep Conte and bloody Harry Kane, and of course I don't think both of those two things can happen. Just like Italy and Portugal in the race for the World Cup, only one of those could actually make it. It's so many little subplots going on. Kicking on forward though, Watford up against Crystal Palace. Watford, of course, with their tails up as well, with a monstrous win on the road to Aston Villa. Can Woy do it? I'm all about the Woy. If he could do this, it'd be absolutely tremendous. Played the 47 times in 1993, 16 wins for Watford, 20 wins for Crystal Palace, and 11 draws, of course. Watford, though, coming to just 1 win in 6, 33% form up against Crystal Palace side, just 1 win in 6, and then 42% form as well. Last round, of course, over at Vicarage Road, it was in the league. It was a 0-0 draw back in December 2019. That was in the Premier League. The reverse fixture, of course, at Selhurst Park was the 1-0 for Crystal Palace way back. They haven't actually played it. They have not played the reverse fixture. Of course, this is a catch-up game. They did play each other this season in the Carabao Cup back in August. Is that right? August 2021? Goodness gracious me, the second round as well. Wow, wow, wee wow. Of course, Watford picked up a 1-0 win at Aston Villa. Of course, Crystal Palace picked up a loss against Chelsea. The odds, though, for this one, 11-5 is your host on this one, 23-10 is your draw, and 30-10 is your away win. That is Crystal Palace on this. Quite tight. We're going to go with Woy here. 1-0 win for them at home. Kicking it forward to Liverpool up against Leeds. Of course, a bit of a tricky game, I think, for Liverpool, but of course, Leeds have not really been on a good bit of form right now. Anyway, played each other 27 times since 1993, 17 wins to Liverpool, 6 wins to Leeds, and 4 draws. Liverpool haven't lost in the last 26 home matches. Of course, they come into this on the back of a 6-game winning run as well, 100% form up against the Leeds side, who probably, I think Bielsa could be on the ropes. I think he could be on the ropes. Of course, they cannot afford to get relegated as well. A 1 win and 6 for them, of course, a 25% form for them right now. Coming at you though, and they are looking at some managers that could potentially take over the reins, but of course, I don't know. It's quite a balancing act, of course. Would you want to get rid of Bielsa now with somebody else who might be unproven? It's very difficult to, of course. Anyway, the pleasure there, of course, last time at Anfield was a 4-3 win for Liverpool. That's back in September 2020. The reverse fixture at Ellen Road back in September was a 3-0 win for Liverpool as well. Liverpool, though, come to this on the back of a 3-1 over Norwich. Just conceded 1 goal in the last 4 up against, of course, Leeds United side, who did lose 4-2 to Manchester United over at Ellen Road. The odds, though, for this one, we have 6-1 on as your Liverpool, 7-1 as your draw, 14-1 as your long shot. There's Leeds on this one. Liverpool should surely win this one. 3-0 win and another clean sheet to boot. Kicking off forward into Thursday. It is Arsenal up against Wolves. Zinger. This one, of course, both of them flying high right now. Played 17 times since 2003, 11 was to Arsenal, 3 for Wolves, and 3 draws, of course. Arsenal coming to this, just 1 defeat the past 5 for them, 50% form up because of Wolves side of 1-4, lost 2. Of course, 67% form for them as well at the moment. Of course, last time around over at the Emirates was a 2-1 win for Wolves, of course, back in November 2020. The reverse fixture, of course, in Wolves, in Molineux, back in, of course, February, just the other day, really. It was a 1-0 win for Arsenal, goodness gracious me. Meanwhile, of course, Arsenal pick up a 2-1 win over Brentford. Of course, Wolves pick up a 2-1 win over Leicester on this one. Quite tight on this one. 20-13 on is your Arsenal, 14-5 is draw, and 92 is your away win. Probably backing Arsenal here. 2-1 win at home. Of course, the homeness will probably be a spicy little bit of a nugget on this one to take it to the house. Kicking off forward to be Brighton, as of course into the weekend now up against Aston Villa. Of course, both sides looking for results and fast. Played each other 9 times in 2010. 1 win for Brighton, 4 wins for Villa, and 4 draws. Just 1 win and 6 there for Brighton right now. 33% form up because that's the Villa side. 1 win and 6, also 33% form as well. Last round at the Amex, it was a 0-0 draw back in, of course, February 2021. Around about this time last season, give or take. And of course, early in the season, back in November, it was a 2-0 win for Villa over at Villa Park. Of course, Brighton did lose to Burnley last round. Haven't scored in back-to-back games. Meanwhile, Villa come to us also on back-to-back defeats and back-to-back games without scoring a goal as well. A bit of a rough patch for both of these two sides. 11-8 is your Brighton on this one. 20-10 is your draw. 11-5 is your away win. I don't know which way I've gone. I've gone with the 1-0 win for Brighton on this one, of course. Villa on the ropes right now. Crystal Palace up against Burnley. Of course, both of them expected to lose in my eyes midweek, but of course, locking horns over in London, of course, on Saturday. Played each other 35 times since the year 2000. 11 wins for Palace, 12 wins for Burnley, and 12 draws. Of course, Palace coming to us just 1 win in 6 of them, 42% form. Up against Burnley side, just 1 win in 6 as well, 42% form as well. Last time round over at Palace, over at Selhurst Park, was a 3-0 win for Burnley back in February 2021. The reverse fixture in Turdmore back in November was a 3-3 draw as well. Meanwhile, so what I'm saying about that is actually Burnley unbeaten against Crystal Palace at the last 4 occasions, win 3 and drawn 1. Meanwhile, Crystal Palace did lose to Chelsea way back, of course, in the weekend, of course, losing here to Watford as well. Of course, Burnley picking up a win against Brighton, but also losing the Spurs this week as well. So take a look at the odds for this game, and of course, we have Crystal Palace 11-10 on for the victory, 35 is your draw, 3-1 is your away win. That is, of course, Burnley. I'm going to go with a win for Palace here, 2-1 win. Of course I bloody am. What do you think I'm made of, eh? I'm wearing a bloody Blackburn Rovers shirt. Of course I am. Kicking off forward to be Brentford up against, of course, Newcastle over at the Community Stadium over in Brentford. Now these two sides played each other 4 times, 2016. 1 win for Brentford, 2 for Newcastle, and 1 draw. Brentford haven't won in the last 8 games. Meanwhile, Newcastle unbeaten in the last 5, picking up 3 wins and 2 draws. 67% form for them up against 8% form. That is Brentford. Meanwhile, last round over in Brentford in the league, it was a 2-1 win for Newcastle back in January 2017. The reverse fixture at St James's Park back in November was a 3-3 draw, of course. Meanwhile, Brentford pick up a 2-1 loss against Arsenal. Of course, West Ham and Newcastle drew last time around. The odds though for this one, 7-5 is your Brentford, 9-4 is your draw, 2-1 is your away win. That's Newcastle. Quite tight this one. I'm going to go with a draw here. 1-1 right in the middle. Of course, I want to see Brentford win, but I just can't see Newcastle losing at the moment. Kick it off forward. Everton up against Manchester City. They are in trouble, aren't they? Goodness gracious me. Locking horns at Goodison Park. Of course, 50 times they played each other since 1993. 18 wins for Everton, 23 wins for Man City, and we got 9 draws. Of course, Everton coming to this 2 wins in the past 6, 33% form. Up against a City side who have, of course, just 1 defeat past 6, 75% form for them as well. City, are they in action midweek? No, they're not. Of course, last round at Goodison Park was a 2-0 win for Manchester City, and City haven't conceded a goal against Everton at the last 3 occasions. In fact, the last time they played in the league was a 3-1 win for City. That was, of course, back in February 2021. So they played the last 4, 1 goal conceded against Man City at the last 4, and of course, City have scored, 13 goals in the process. Of course, Everton coming into the back of a 2-0 loss against Southampton. Man City, of course, losing to Spurs last time around in a thrilling game. Of course, 9-1 is your Everton. Of course, 7-2 on is your City, and 92 is your draw. City will win this one 3-0 comfortably in the end. Kicking off forward, it'll be a bit of a enticing one here. On Friday, February 25th, is Southampton up against Norwich, of course, over at St Mary's. Now, these two sides have played each other 29 times since 1984. 14 wins to Southampton, 8 wins to Norwich, and 7 draws. Of course, Southampton coming to this just 1 defeat past 6. They are on the form right now, 67% form up against the Norwich side, who haven't picked up a result in the last 3. 58% form for them at the moment, of course. Last time around over at St Mary's was a 2-1 win for Southampton back in December 2019. Of course, the reverse fixture at Carrow back in November was a 2-1 win for Norwich. Of course, Southampton pick up a 2-0 win over Everton. Of course, Norwich did lose to Liverpool. Of course, they've had a bit of a rough run in back-to-back games against the top 2. So, they're, of course, looking to respond. Conceded 7 goals in the process as well. Kicking off forward, though, the odds 7-4 on is your, of course, Southampton, 92 is your Norwich, and 65 is your draw. Going to go with a 2-1 win for the Saints on this one. Will they keep on marching? We'll have to see about that. Here we go. Leeds United will take on, of course, Spurs on Saturday as well. Will it be a good week for Spurs, or will it be a shitty one? Or will it be a good week for Leeds, of course, taking on Liverpool earlier in the week, taking on Spurs at the back end of it? Of course, played each other 28 times in 1993, 11 wins for Leeds, 10 wins for Spurs, and 7 draws. Just 1 win and 6 though for Leeds right now, 25% form up against the Spurs side, 1-3, lost 3. Of course, that's before all this events that take place. Kicking on forward though, last time out at Ellen Road was a 3-1 win for Leeds back in May 2021. The reverse fixture down in London was, of course, back in November. It was a 2-1 win for Spurs. The away side has only won once of the last 6 occasions. That was when Spurs beat Leeds at Ellen Road in the FA Cup back in 2010. Meanwhile, kicking on forward, of course, Leeds did lose to United. They'll lose as well to Liverpool. Meanwhile, Spurs did beat Manchester City, and they'll beat bloody Burnley as well this week, as well, in my eyes. Anyway, of course, the odds though for this one, 11-4 is your Leeds, even Stevens is your Spurs, and 5-2 is your draw. Going to go with a win for Spurs here, but only just tight one, 2-1 win in the end to take it to the house. Kicking off forward is United up against, of course, Watford over at Old Trafford. Now, of course, these two sides have played 17 times since 1999. 14 wins for Man United, 3 wins for Watford, and 0 draws. Just 1 defeat past 6 for United. Of course, heading into this one, 67% form up against the Watford side, just 1 win and 6 for them, 33% form for them as well. Kicking off forward, of course, last time around over at Old Old Trafford in the league. It was a 3-0 win for United. That was back in February 2020. The reverse fixture, of course, was a 1-0 win for Watford. Sorry. The reverse fixture back at Vicarage Road was a 4-1 win for United. Of course, that was, I think, the beginning of the end, if not the end, for Ollie back in November. Of course, meanwhile, of course, last time around, Man United pick up a 4-2 win over Leeds. They are not in action this week. Meanwhile, Watford, though, of course, 1-0 win over Villa. They are in action. I do anticipate them to beat Crystal Palace on this one. The odds, though, for this one, 3-1 is your 3-1 on is your United, 4-1 is your draw, less 7-2 is your Watford. As much as I want Watford to win this one, they will not win this one. So they need to win against Palace to give themselves a relegation boost, because I think this is a nailed-on home win on this one. Into the final two now is the battle of the W's. It is West Ham up against Wolves. That'll be on Sunday, February the 27th, of course. Now, these two sides played each other 15 times in 2004, 7 wins apiece and 1 draw. And, of course, West Ham 1-2, lost 2, drawn 2. Of course, 50% form up against the Wolves side, who won 4 and lost 2. Of course, expected to lose against Arsenal as well, so they would have won 4, lost 3 at the last 6. So more like 50% form for them heading into this one. Of course, coming at you, though, last round over at whatever they call it, London Stadium, 4-0 win. It was West Ham back in September 2020. The reverse fixture, of course, at Molineux back in November was a 1-0 win for Wolves. Of course, coming at you, though, Wolves pick up a 2-1 win over Leicester. They'll lose to Arsenal. Of course, West Ham with a 1-1 draw against Newcastle. They're not playing midweek, or are they? They're playing in the. Are they playing? No, they're not playing in the Europa League just yet. Kicking on forward, though, even Stevens is your West Ham. 11-4 is your Wolves, and 12-5 is your draw. Bit of a tough week, I think it is going to be for Wolves on this one. I don't think they're going to win this one. I'm going with a 2-1 win for the Hammers. Should take it out. And then finally, it is Burnley. They're going to be taking on Leicester. Now, we don't have any odds on this one, so of course this is a little bit of a stretch, but we're going to take a little look at it anyway. So this is Burnley's 3 games in this one video. Goodness gracious me, I'm overloading on the freaks here. The Freakazoids. The Freakazoids will be hosting Leicester City. Played each other 31 times, 2002. Of course, 9 was the Burnley, 13 was the Leicester, and 9 draws. This, of course, will take place on the 1st of March. Of course, 1 win out of the last 6 for Burnley right now, up against the Leicester side, just 1 win of 6 as well. It is the Catabata Cup weekend. Maybe I've got to do a video about that as well. Shit, the bed. We'll take a look at that, of course, a little bit later on. But anyway, these two sides, of course, play each other. Last round at Turf Moor was a 1-1 draw back in March 2021. The reverse fixture, of course, at King Power was a 2-2 draw back in September. Burnley did beat Brighton last round. They'll lose, of course, against Spurs. They'll also lose against somebody else in there, Crystal Palace. And, of course, they'll come out at the end on this one. Meanwhile, Leicester, of course, losing to Wolves last round. They are, of course, I don't think they're actually playing. This is their only game, so a bit of a weekend off for Leicester City on this one. But of course, the odds though for this one, we don't have any odds, so I'm going to go with my gut. My gut says a 1-0 win for Leicester. That's right. That's of course my picks on this one. Be sure to get your own picks in as well. It's free to enter Cutley 4 Premier League. That is just about that. Make sure you smash the thumbs up as well. It does you wonders for the algorithm, and of course, make sure you smash the thumbs up as well. Smash your subscribe. Of course, get this video up there, and of course, hopefully, I'll see you on the next time around. But until then, guys, smash the subscribe. Of course, if you think you are a football nerd, we'll get into prediction videos with me right here at Blackburn Overseas. Let me know down below in the comment section. Of course, I'm trying to improve the Avengers. Of course, get some more knowledge in here. And of course, hopefully you could be that person. Of course, let me know down below. Until then, guys, I'll see you soon for the next one. Until then, dudes, we're done for now.